Hey everybody, Charles Calhoun, aka Shade Tree Pro, once again here at the beautiful Marriott Grand Vista in Orlando, Florida, where I own and operate my teaching business under the shade tree for that good old swing philosophy I know of. Top down, baby, top down. Now, today I'm going to give you a little bit of a lesson on something we've heard about a lot of times in the golf swing, and that's about, you know, keeping the left arm straight or something of that nature. Well, they've talked about people putting the arm under things underneath their arm, the field connection, and you all have heard me say that in the top down or any other, when you put something under your arm, you actually create a disconnection. And I'm going to tell you exactly why you create a disconnection. And also in the process, I'm going to tell you exactly what you should do and what you should be feeling. So, why is it that we keep our left arm straight, or do we keep our left arm straight or lead arm? Well, here's what's really happening. Because you've seen people with a slightly bent arm that still plays well. Calvin Pete had a bent lead arm and played phenomenally well. The truth is of what we're trying to do, and it goes in conjunction with what the shoulder girdle does. And in the shoulder girdle, of course, we have the scapulas. And the scapulas, one of the other moves, we know we got up and we got down, but also what we have is protraction and retraction. And when you see those people in the golf swing, they say, oh man, he's got rounded shoulders. Well, the rounded shoulders come from the simple fact is that both scapulas have been protracted forward. So what happens is that to keep the arm straight, it doesn't have from the elbow down to the hand, that doesn't necessarily have to be as straight as we want to feel the upper arm and the protraction of the upper arm or the scapula that keeps that straight. Because what we're trying to do, we're trying to get the protraction of the scapula to come around. That's no different than, like I say, when you're doing a push-up and you're pushing back, the scapulas are coming around. So when we set up to this golf ball, we want to feel, especially on the lead arm, we want to feel that protraction. We really want to feel that thing protracting forward. Why? Because remember, as I said before, there's always an action-reaction. Mo Norman talked about nobody really teaches action-reaction anymore. For wherever action, there's a reaction. So if I bend my arm, the next move is straighten it. If I sit here and protract my scapula, the next move in essence is going to be able to retract the scapula. But in the same sense, I can still go up and down with the scapula protracted. I can still go up and down with the scapula retracted. I can still go up and down. So scap up and scap down is always going to work. So on my lead shoulder, with the lead shoulder girdle, with the lead scapula, we want to pull that all the way around. We want to protract that all the way around, almost like we're pulling it, from the posterior side of the body, which is where the scapulars are, all the way to the anterior. You want to feel that rounded off here. You want to feel it rounded off. So when I get that, whoa, that's giving me a cramp in my chest. So when I round that off, now that gives me a completely real true distance to the ball. Now what happens when people go and they stick something under their arm, they may get a little bit feeling like the arm is forward, but they don't get that arm completely around or completely protracted or completely pushed out. When they don't get it there, then all of a sudden they got to use their body in essence, and those people who come from the ground up or turn the hips in a sense, they're trying to get that sensation of trying to get themselves to feel like they're doing this. Well, in top down, we don't do that. And top down, of course, we use scap up, scap down. But we want to get ourselves in that good address position to where that lead arm, let's get this lead arm pushed out there in complete protraction. And then all of a sudden when we come down, if it's protracted, and here's the beauty of it, to people having problems with your finish, if it's protracted all the way forward, then naturally it's going to release and it's going to go back towards retraction. It's going to retract up. So let's get the feeling of that. excuse me. On my trail side, me personally, just me, I don't push it as hard with my trail side, because on my trail side, I'm basically having to fold this arm, so I want it to be free. I definitely don't want to put something underneath my arm and feel it on the trail side. I kind of want this to be free, because this side, the most important part about the trail side, I'm not so much as concerned about the protraction and the retraction as much as I'm concerned about the scap up and scap down. Protraction and retraction will happen, but on the trail side, I definitely want to get the scap up and scap down. So if you want to know how I'm setting up the scapulas, you know, in this regard, of course, this is something new. I am really protracting the lead side so I can get the upper arm straight out. There still could be some bend here, however you want. That's on you. But as long as I really get this protracted out, because I need that to naturally, like a rubber band, I need that to spring back up. So once I get that, got that nice, I'm relaxed with my right side the way that I want, because like I said, scap up. I want to get the feeling of that. So real true protraction on the lead side of the scapula. That means coming around, come forward, get that arm, get that extension there. And then I just make all the normal moves. Scap up, scap down. No matter what I do, scap up, scap down. I know it's a lot of you all out there, as I try to tell people, you know, with that, they're starting to realize that top down is totally something different. There's no question it's different. One of the biggest things is, I know, and as I said before, if you choose to use track band and all that, that's on you. But when I do scap up and scap down, or I use my top down, I'm not looking for a position. All I'm doing is taking a good dead finger grip. I'm getting the scap up and I'm bringing it down, and I'm building a rhythm. So I got a decently, if you want to call it a long swing, medium swing, whatever it is, I can do whatever I want, because all I know is the scap's coming up, scap's coming down, in essence. And now I've added to you this good protraction of the lead shoulder. Now, the reason, and a lot of people don't give you reasons why certain things, like you going from your P1s, the P2s, the P6s, and all that stuff. Well, that's simply because when you're rotating your hips, you know, and you're starting to swing with that, then your hips is bringing you down to different positions. You see what I mean? Because one time you might turn them this way, and what happens if you turn with your left hip, or if you turn with your right hip, or if you go this way, whatever, then it's going to create different positions here and there and everywhere. So what we're trying to do is make sure that is when we want this to be one continuous motion. So scap up, scap down creates one continuous motion. I don't, you know, I don't base it on positions. You know, if somebody wants to do that, that's fine. As I told you before, I don't never tell anybody that's wrong until they tell me that I'm wrong, and then, you know, I got to go upside that head. But anyway, the thing is this. I don't use that because, like I said, I want my swing to go up, and I want it to be continuously moving, no different than we do in any other sports anatomically. And so that's one of the biggest reasons there. I create the conditions. I don't create positions. As I said before, muscles learn, positions don't. Any position you're trying to achieve in the golf swing, if it's not conducive to the natural movements of the body, consistently it's not going to work. Because I hear people all the time when they talk about the swing. Now I had a guy tell me this. He said, Charles, how do you think you're gonna get up here and get to the top of the swing or whatever it is, and roll the shaft and do all of that in 1 point whatever seconds that the golf swing is? And I found that so weird to hear him say that. Because in my own argument, because I didn't even get into it because I thought it was kind of a stupid statement, the way he put it towards me, nothing wrong with asking the question, but the way when you come across in a derogatory way, in essence, then that's a whole different story, and I'm going to respond to you in a different way. Instead of asking me a question, in a sense, he was questioning, and that's a difference. But I could have came back with the argument and saying, okay, I take the club up, scap up, and then all of a sudden I roll the shaft down. The same thing we do in just about any other sports. We do the same things up. The arms are up and they roll however you want to do it. But here's my argument is this, is how are you going to teach somebody in a sense in 1 point whatever 2 seconds to go P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6, and then keep trying to train somebody to get to a position in essence, and then all of a sudden now you're trying to bring the arms down because you're not getting the scapula in a position, you're actually getting the arms in a position, and the scapula controls the arms don't control the scapula. And I mean, that's just basic anatomy. You can look at and see that the shoulder socket actually is connected to the scapula. The scapula is the boss, in essence. So when you're going P1, P2, P3, all these, what you're doing is you're controlling it with the hands and arms, and you've already taken yourself out of the sequence. Because as scap goes up, and as I said before, a lot of people don't know that the shoulder socket sets below, I think it's called the acromion here. It sets below, this is where the collarbone connects at the AC joint. The shoulder socket sets underneath it. So I'm lifting the acromion part up first. That's scap up, bringing the whole girdle up. So I just found that very interesting, that when I go scap up, scap down, and then my thing is just rolling the shaft, and I start rolling it from the very top, and y'all saw the video where I showed the counter to where when I roll that shaft, when I go back, my club face is a little bit closed in a sense, and then when I come back down, I just roll it back open. I mean, I can do that in 1.2 seconds, 1 second, and this is because I'm not thinking about a position, I'm thinking about a condition. And something else that I want to add to you all, because I was at my tennis court the other day, and I had my tennis racket in my hand, and I was sitting there, and when I was sitting hitting those tennis balls, I was taking that racket back like this, coming through, bam, bam. But you notice something that I noticed something that I was doing, and then I realized that I would also do it in racquetball, is that when I take the tennis racket back, I wasn't opening the face that hit the ball. I wasn't opening it up. I actually was pointing it towards the ground, and then it would allow me to bring that forearm through just to say bam. And so that's kind of something that I've been working on a little bit, even with that, because I saw it. I was like, okay, that reminds me of that. So when I'm taking that back with that good protraction, when I'm taking it back, I'm just feeling like it's got eyeballs on here and it's looking at the ground, and then I bring it back to look away from the ground. And that's my creative visualization that I have. But that just reminds me of what I did with a tennis racket, and what I did with a ping pong paddle, and what I did with a racquetball. It's just the same thing I did with a mowing sign. When I took it up, I didn't take the mowing sign and go back this way. I took it here. The only reason that you are really opening that face up is because you're trying to get it to match the hips, in a sense. Well, top down, as you want to say, top down, we all about the ground. That's one of my little rhymes there. So I feel that, and that's what I'm saying. Now, I'm not literally having to turn it there, but it's just a sensation that I know that a lot of people, get the face to look up to the sky, which is, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm sitting here trying to take the face because I don't want to take it off, which is a good thing. I don't really want to take the face off of what it's going to come back to. So if I got it looking at the ground, or a sensation of feeling like it looking at the ground, then when I come down, I'm bringing it back to what it's looking at. So that's the little things that I'm working on. Excuse me there. That's little things I've worked on, just to, those little nails, just to tighten things up, just to keep building that sequence. But no matter what I do, it's still scap up, still scap down, as we call it, scap drop. And then all of a sudden, I just, as the scap drops, I just start rolling the shaft from the top. As I always say, if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. And if you're late, maybe want to pick up another sport, or at least come see the Shade Tree Pro, and I'll get you on time, or early. That's how it goes. But anyway, that's what I've got to say for you today. Make sure you get that good protraction of the scapula, come around the corner, come all the way around on the lead side, so when you strike, it'll naturally go back to its retracted position as it goes up. as the right arm does what it do. You know, I'm a controller of my swing more with the right arm. That's how I do it. So anyway, if you like this video, definitely gives it a big old thumbs up. Make sure that you leave a comment. Hey, I'm just having a lot of fun right now because, like I said, all this stuff is just starting to, I can see it so clear. And then the comments that I'm getting from people, of course, I'm going to always have some people that say something negative in a sense, you know, they can't help themselves, you know, idiots. But that's another story. But anyway, long as they watching it or whatever, because you know, all my good top downers out there that's having success, you know they're getting it, because you know there's nobody out there that can deny the dead fingers, period. It doesn't make a difference, you know, whether you agree with the book or not. You can't deny the use of the dead fingers. Those are just phenomenal. And the most important thing in the golf swing, to start it, and the backswing, and to start the downswing, you know you got to get the club up. You know you got to bring it back down. And that right there in itself, or whatever, it take you a long way to improving your golf swing and making you possibly the best golfer that you possibly can be. And it is not going to take you 700 years to learn how to get the golf club in the backswing, because the simplicity of it under the Shade Tree Pro, using the swing system and philosophy top down, our very first move is to get the golf club up in the air. The only move to bring the golf club down, is scap down. Charles Calhoun, aka the Shade Tree Pro. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and as I always say to all my friends out there, happy holidays is something new, and always good golfing.